All right.
We are live.
What's up, everybody? We got Scott. We got Nate. This is some of you out there that probably haven't seen Nate. He hasn't been here in a while.
It's been quite a while. Hey, thanks for having me back, guys.
Yes.
He's a working man. He's a working man.
Where are all the mods? Somebody's saying.
I don't see one in there, except me, but I'm not typing anything, so.
Hey, it's all right. We'll be all right. People are busy. It's a weird time of the day. We planned on going lots earlier, but things come up, and we're just going to kind of sit back and chill. I haven't had Scott, Scott's been here recently, but I did want to talk to them and you guys about the Patriot Fest 2020, August 14th and 15th. Friday night, Saturday day is the main event. It's the 9th annual American Legion Bristol Post 143, 9th annual flag retirement. If you've never been to a flag retirement,
Great event.
it's a way to properly dispose of flags that have seen their use. All right, so we inspect them all. You guys, we get them donated from the community all year long, and we had actually drop box right by our front door. And most legions in your city would be doing the same thing, or VFWs. It's all very similar, but
It's also the first annual Patriot Hour event.
yes.
Well, it can't be. You can't say first annual.
I know. Well,
It's not annual
I
until
know.
it happens once.
touche.
Yes.
Touche.
All right.
We're going to make it annual.
Yes.
Yes, we are. It's an amazing thing. If you guys have never seen how people how they deal with American flags and dispose of them the correct way,
Our Legion.
it's
our
a very
Legion,
cool thing to do.
Oh, it is. Our Legion usually gets the Boy Scouts involved, which is, man, that is humbling to see
And
the
that's-
young
that's
kids.
very
Yep.
humbling.
Our scouts are there. They're there every year.
To see the young kids learn how you're supposed to dispose of an American flag once it spends its day,
Right.
once it's done.
Hey, by the way, what's the etiquette when you drive by somebody's house? To get
The etiquette when you drive by
get
somebody's
angry,
house is to leave it alone.
right.
You're not allowed to call them out.
Well,
You sit there and you have a conversation with them.
Maybe go buy one and leave it in their mailbox or on their
You can do
porch
that.
as
Well-
a hint or a gesture. But
no, actually, I've had this come up. People at my Legion, the one guy used to teach it at the local elementary school. That's gone away, but he used to volunteer, and they'd get a hold of our Legion to come teach the second graders flag etiquette course. Hour. But he has said it like, when he sees one, and it's kind of at that point that you don't need to get on the you can definitely pull up, knock on their door, and if they're not approachable, they'll let you know and you leave. But he just brings up, did you notice or whatever? And oh yeah. And
kindness.
if it comes out that they can't afford one, he's always offered for our Legion, like, hey, we'll take that, dispose of it, and I'll get you a new one. It's whatever. The Legion will buy
Not
one.
even a Legion. If
But
I see it, I'll offer.
Yes.
I'll pay. I don't have money.
Yeah, no, and this
But
is a
if I
guy
see
from our
somebody-
Legion driving down the road back and forth wherever, and if he'd see one, he said he'd stop, knock on doors, talk to people, tell them what the options were, like, hey, if you can't, not like, hey, you can't afford one we see here, but, over the course, but just let them know that, hey, that's kind of,
try the friendly, positive.
It's hard to approach.
well, and if you tell them, like, hey, we
That's
do
why I
a,
asked.
You don't want to offend somebody.
well,
Right.
and him, he'd always tell them that coming up in August, we have this flag retirement where we properly dispose of them. Now, they're actually burned, and people are like, oh my God, flag burning party. No, it's the
No.
government's protocol. Now, when I was in the service, we'd only have typically one big flag at the base. They'd keep repairing it. You always try to repair them. You got somebody that does it. But when I've actually witnessed 2 ceremonies where it's a lot more strenuous in the military with the one flag that really flies over the base. Here in town, it's like, I still think it's very honorable. It's a civilian version. It's so many flags that are brought in, and one by one you're looking like, yep, that's ready to, you throw it in the thing.
And is it usually open to the public?
This is open to the public. This has always
It's
been for us. We promote everyone. That's why we're inviting the whole channel that is here
See,
today.
our local one, I don't know that it's ever
It's always open to the public.
just not promoted.
They don't promote it or invite the public.
Gosh, you should. That should be
Should.
something.
Yeah.
But like you said, they bring the Boy Scouts in,
Yeah, that's cool.
so they
It's
bring all the followers that they can bring. If you see somebody that has a tethered flag you want to respect that person because they're trying to do the right thing.
They already are halfway there. They got a flag.
No,
Right. The etiquette.
they just don't know the etiquette to where it's time to get rid of this flag, and this is how I get rid of it.
Yep.
So I'm not alone here. I mean, we all pass.
So as of
gotta
now,
talk to
until now, till August or forever, you guys know that you can approach somebody by saying, "Hey, I am part of this. You're more than welcome to come."
Yeah.
By the way,
That's a good way to
it's-
lead the conversation, make it calm without saying, you're fine.
yeah, for the Legion I'm part of, and me and Scott were members of the same one for many years.
Same one, Nate's in. Yeah.
Yep, same one. And I'm, I would put it this way. This is their 9th annual for my Legion, 9th annual flag retirement, 9th annual freedom ride. They have a 60-mile ride that ends up
yeah.
at another Legion, by the way. So we're going to stream that. Well, at the end of this 60-mile thing, they stop at this Legion. Everyone normally goes and has one drink or something, makes them some money, and then everyone heads back to ours, where then the events start. Like for that Saturday afternoon, it's bands and the food, all that great
We'll do
stuff.
cornhole tournaments.
Oh, cornhole tournaments are there, bocce ball.
We'll have live feed.
Kids are welcome.
from my bike. I'm going to
Camping.
I'm going to stay in the back. That way, there's always a really good picture of all the bikes. I'm excited. I don't care to be a lead bike. It's always boring because there's nobody next to you or in front of you. So
2-day live stream of the whole thing. So when we're not talking to people and having the camera out in faces and doing little interviews, it'll be permanently mounted up in the pavilion, getting the whole crowd.
yeah, anytime you just chime on our website.
We're planning on having a TV set up there with a sign saying "Smile," so individually you can come up and wave and do things that people will see. We're gonna have an area with one of the flags made that'll be for the event. Legion, Patriot Hour. Would be a selfie area where
that'd
you
be
can
great.
go up and do
A
the
photo
things.
booth.
Yeah,
We need a Patriot Hour flag though.
yeah. We're gonna get a huge one made. Somebody.
If anybody out there can help us with that,
The people that were sending this, I'm in touch with them, and we're hoping he can make a really big.
just a freedom or Patriot
Fest,
Hour flag.
yep.
And I would love to put one on the back of the bike too.
I'll put one in my front yard if we can get.
That is one right there, right? Patriot Hour. Where we go when we go.
Yeah, that's the size I would need for the bike, but we need one bigger.
Bigger,
for the
yeah,
selfie
for the-
booth.
yes, yes.
and for Nate's
And let's
big ass pole he's
let's
putting
talk
on.
about getting a selfie post with. You can have them come in. You can invite a company in.
The booth,
with the booth, but you got to have the booth open so you can so that you can get the flag in the
That's
back.
something we can arrange.
A couple $100 we can get them there.
And that way we get everybody's selfie too. We can put it in our books instead
It's
of
all-
if you just let everybody do it by themselves, you're never going to capture unless everybody sends it to our email or something. So that's probably a good idea. I know they do that. So that'd be neat. But we definitely need a big flag just like that one. I need one just that size, and then I can poster it to my bike. Nate's going to need one because he's putting up a very large pole. So
We're all putting. Once these guys see the pole I put up, we're all putting one up.
I'm excited to see it. So either way, we'll Google it or find it. But if anybody out there is in the flag business or can help with that or assist with that, we're all ears.
Give me a minute here. I'll pull up the.
That I like that flag.
It'll be third on my pole, but it'll be
Sure.
big and good.
That's
and-
the proper.
Amazing.
Oh, you're not going to put a third world country on top?
Yeah.
That's weird. Those are the people that I should be able to pull over and knock on our door and say, yeah.
Well, you can then, but then you just got to do it all off camera.
Okay, no live streaming, sorry.
All right, there we go. Should get some chats up here on the main output screen. There we go. Okay,
Where's
so
this going to be held? This is going to be held in Bristol, Indiana. That's central Indiana, all the way north, damn near a mile or two from the Michigan border. So it's northern Indiana, central, fly in the South Bend, drive towards Notre Dame, South Bend area, and you're going to be pretty close.
yes,
It's a small town, but it's a big town. It's a rural town.
yes,
They actually have one of the largest memberships in the entire state, and their town population is pretty small.
yeah,
But
it
they're
is.
spread out so big,
They bring in a lot of people from a lot of areas around it
Correct.
because
And
they're so supportive of.
camping is allowed, by the way. So for this 2-day event, we've for years, for these 9 years, people that are normally Friday nights is just a normal Friday night there, but people have campers, tents. We have normally a big bonfire that they start doing around 9 or 10, just for that Friday night, getting ready. So some people stay. We're trying to make Friday night, a live show, bands outside, even though on inside there's normally karaoke or a band. There's a huge drawing that's open to the public Friday night at 7. We'll capture that. We plan on doing a live show 6:30 to 7:30 outside with the audience, with you guys from the Patriot Hour.
You won't be disappointed if you show up. It's one of the most active legions, and I've traveled enough of the country and I always use my Legion card because
it's always cool to do, right?
But the Bristol Legion is one of the most active clubs that I've been into.
Especially
per capita, they're probably number one as far as size. As little as they are, they're probably one of the biggest in the country.
Yeah, it caught your attention like mine when I first left out of where we were at, and then you came. I was like, let's go to my league. We're just gonna have a drink or two,
impressed.
And we're like, holy crap! It was a Friday. It was pretty happy. I'm like, whoa,
yeah.
And we stayed a little longer than we should have.
I actually tried to take some of that what they do there.
I went there with you guys after election.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was dead, and still pretty dang happening.
It was like a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday night or something.
If you're a gambler and whatever, but they play the cards, the snap open games.
Baby bankers.
They go through. What,
you
15,
said
20 of them in a day. I mean, you literally jump in this game, and within 15, 20 minutes, they're going to announce the winner. It's just something I've never... So I try to take that back to
Like, normally that you buy something, you wait a day or two to get the phone call, or when you go back, you're like, did I win? Nope.
Yeah. Right. But you sit down and...
Here, it's real time. It was all like...
No, it was dead the day I went in there, from what you said.
Yeah.
And it was still pretty damn happening.
Was he...
We were doing.
We all sat down.
We were doing filming. We actually had the film crew in at that point and filmed us go vote. So that's on the record. Just for any of you out there that would doubt that we'd vote.
That was a fun night. Wild man was sitting there at the table.
Oh, Woodgrain.
Woodgrain.
Now it's Woodman,
Woodmain.
Woodgrain. He's watching right now. What's up, brother? He's probably in the chat.
Fun man.
So those dates again, we just got to ask the dates again. It's in my calendar.
August 14th, 15th. August 14th and 15th of 2020. Bristol, Indiana. Bristol American Legion 143. We're going to have a digital flyer coming out for all of you that would think about wanting to come, or it's a possibility. Email Patriots Fest, PATRIOTS FEST 2020 at gmail.com.
Correct.
That'll get you in. You're not going to get a response like right now or later tonight. It'll be a few weeks, if anything, but you're going to get a digital flyer back with the layout of the whole property, where you can camp.
These guys do it a year in advance for their normal event, so it's going to be fun to be a part of a group that doesn't wait till the last minute.
The event's already happening.
Yeah,
we're making sure
adding something to make it a whole lot bigger.
That's right.
We're looking to not impress them. We're just looking to just grow the event. The Patriot Hour, I hope.
We're just bringing attention to something that everybody that supports us and follows us.
This is a way to meet us. I want you guys to meet Nate. Everybody. We're all meeting face to face now, finally.
Correct.
And this is a couple months before the election. I think it'll be just good energy. No agendas for this thing. Yeah. You're going to hear music. Some of the people from the Patriot Hour are coming saying, I'm bringing my this and that. So we want you guys to play music. We don't need to get outside. We're going to probably have some outside people coming into play, but it'd be some of you guys are artists already, so bring your guitars and
there's no speeches,
mandolins.
Yeah, there's no speeches or politicians.
You said
showing
camping out. Can't nobody stop you from playing your guitar and singing.
That's right. That's what's going to be.
Come around you and watch you and hang out.
A bunch of patriots having a good time.
Again, it's a rural area. You're not gonna if you're used to camping and you're used to events, you're not gonna be disappointed. Also, you're not gonna be a sardine, and you're not gonna feel like you're completely far away from civilization either. It's a perfect location for this.
And we can expand this with the people coming this year. First annual Patriot Fest, 9th annual.
Can't say annual.
Yeah, not yet.
I was just told that.
First annual.
Yeah.
But maybe next year we move to one of our watchers or our subscribers, go to somebody else's Legion. But I don't know that that's what we're going to go with this, although I envision moving around the country.
We can bless different legions or whoever's willing to host us with, we're coming, we're bringing people.
Right.
Would you be willing to, we could team up. This is what we're doing with our Legion. We're teaming up. It's great for them. It's a free event. It's a free event, folks, for everybody. Now, things cost if you want to get in the 60-mile motorcycle ride.
I'll be in it.
Yeah, me too. Me as well.
And I'm pitching in on cornhole, so somebody's got to pitch in money.
There you
And
go.
you're not going to beat Nate and I, especially team event. They're just,
We'll be drawing straws, folks, for teams.
I'm out. I'm
I'm
out.
joking.
Anyway, what's going on in the world?
You guys got any questions? We can, take some, throw some comments. We're just keeping this open mic. We got Nate. We got Scott, for those of you just joining in.
Check that out. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Place
You're
it
good.
Antifa would want to stay away from. No, not at all.
I can bring that up a little better. Hold on.
They
Here.
can try.
But I think his question was, would you expect it? No, Antifa will not. This is not an area where.
If they tried, nobody would care.
But 12 of them might show up.
Nobody would care though.
Right.
We're all going to sit there. We're going to have
Pay
beers.
no
we're going
mind.
to have fun.
Pay no mind to them.
Hey, if they want to hang out with a bunch of patriots and
Exactly.
act accordingly, we have no issue.
Unfortunately, because it's open to the public, it'll be out of our show, the Patriot Hour. Mike and I, Nate, anybody that's affiliated with the show, it'll be out of our hands. It'll be an American Legion.
Don't even say
You
unfortunately.
know, well, not
What's this one?
If they show up and they hang out with us,
I'm
they'll go,
going to
"Holy
highlight
cow."
some comments. There's one from Adam Lewis. It's a great time, and the town of Bristol itself is picturesque. Small town America will not disappoint.
Right.
Absolutely.
I know him personally, and yes, he's.
Absolutely.
It's a cool little town. It really is.
I will bring cornhole. Yep. Hey, we got plenty of sets here. Bring some if you would like.
Don't worry. Don't even stress the fact that there's going to be controversy. It's not going to happen. It
Antifa will not show up. If they do, they're going to have.
It
a
works
fun
itself
time,
out. Yeah.
And they're going to go, man.
It does. It works itself out. That's the best.
How
way.
the heck am I having this much fun here?
Right. Exactly. We might actually be able to recruit some of them away from.
Yeah. Get them to tear up their card memberships and maybe grab a Legion one. Now, if any of you are out there that are military or have the access, you can be American Legion member. You can actually be a member of the post that you're going to be coming to. We're allowed to do that.
Cards travel.
Yep, that's right.
Cards
That'll
travel.
get you into any Legion all around the country.
For business, I travel the entire country, and that is the best way, especially when you're in small towns and or you're uncomfortable in the big city or something. But just use that card, get into your local Legion. You can just nuzzle right up next to a good old boy and just sit there and have a great
And then you just
conversation.
feel comfortable. You don't feel
Yeah.
out of town.
Right.
That's right.
The drinks are usually cheap. The the people that are working the place are just down to earth, friendly. I don't think I've ever been to a Legion that I would ever tell anybody don't go to. There's not an agenda there. The agenda is you're just a patriot. So
I dropped the email there and the link.
I encourage everybody to come if they can come. I know it's hard if you're way,
And we're
1,000
streaming
miles
it.
away.
We're going to stream it. Sounds like Friday Night Live Party. Yeah, we're going to have a stream for those of you that can't. I mean, now you're just going to be kind of taunted with what you're missing, but maybe, next year you can come.
I will say this though. Years ago, I was told, there's no reason, especially where we're from. Nate and I, particularly, Mike used to live there a little time. Well, there's nothing to do. If you can just get yourself registered to think, man, if right after work on a Friday at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, if you drive 4 or 5 hours in any direction, there's all kinds of things to do. So if you're in Western Pennsylvania or somewhere in Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, even Kentucky, Ohio,
Yeah.
it's not that far. I mean, just a couple hours, you'll be right here. And
We got a
it's
guy
worth it.
coming from overseas.
No way.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Is it Darren? Darren Carson, you're coming, right? He's right here.
Best
He's asking for nearest airport, see?
Midway, Chicago.
South Bend.
Gosh, you can go to Detroit, Midway, Chicago.
Not even Detroit, Kalamazoo.
Well, he's coming
He's
international.
coming overseas.
Well, he's already landing somewhere on the coast then to get from there to...
Yeah, but they don't.
We can come to South Bend if he's already landing somewhere.
If you got money, you can fly directly into South Bend from almost anywhere in the country. But you're going to have a joining flight.
Well, if
I
he's
guess.
Yeah,
already-
you're gonna-
if he's already coming overseas.
He's going to land...
Here,
He's going to land on
he
the
can
coast.
get onto something to get to South
Yeah.
Bend or Kalamazoo or.
That's what I'm thinking.
Chicago's 2.5
Detroit.
hours west. Detroit's 2.25 hours north.
Kalamazoo's an hour.
Yeah.
South Bend's 40 minutes. So South Bend is your most closest,
Mike.
but that's...
Will there be camping hookups?
Okay, so there, I think there is maybe a spot, one or two, and I know the guys that have been there 9 years. He always has his camp right there. He actually runs the whole ALR. He's like the godfather that brought the ALR in.
I wonder if I can get a big diesel generator.
Other than that, the camping also is kind of primitive.
Donated.
There is no electric, folks. So here's the thing with this digital flyer, we're going to give an aerial view. I'm going to actually do a satellite crop image of the layout of the land over there, and you guys can camp. But it is kind of. Are you boys stoned?
I don't partake in.
Been drinking a little.
I'm not from Colorado. I just
No.
Bristol is in Indiana. So it's Bristol, Indiana, folks. Again, post 143 American Legion.
Tennessee, Diane, Tennessee. Here, it's probably 8 hours max from Tennessee, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's coming from Belfast. Only asking to price it from Belfast.
Got no idea, brother. South Bend. If you got that kind of money to get over here, go right to South Bend.
Or Chicago. That'd be a couple-hour drive.
Yeah, Chicago's not bad.
Chicago Midway, southeast side.
Give me a call, I'll come pick you up.
Yeah, O'Hare. Don't go to O'Hare because that's another 40 minutes and sometimes 3 hours northwest. It just depends on what time you fly. If you're going to fly into Chicago, make sure it's red eye, middle of the day, or late night. Do not get anywhere around 9 a.m. or 5 p.m. And when I say nowhere, that's 2 hours on both sides.
I've always had a hard time flying into South Bend. Every time we do it, it's always like a 10 o'clock flight. And if there ain't enough people on it, it seems like they cancel it. And then there's just not one for 2 more days.
I've never been canceled, but I've been delayed a little bit.
Yeah, man, we've had horrible times.
South Bend does not have enough business to keep what they want to keep going.
That's what I'm saying. So don't plan your whole life around South Bend landing.
Chicago's
Right.
not that far away.
So there's some questions on Q. We already kind of giggled about that. There's so many Q drops. Mike's probably going to end up. He ain't probably. I know
Well, I have to.
well. He's going to end up doing a 2 or 3 hour show tonight on Q. So stay tuned for that. But yes, Culture Purel South Bend International. That's exactly what it's called. You cannot. It's easy to find. South Bend's not such a small town. You get lost on the internet. But so let's get into the impeachment process.
What do you guys think?
The real meat and taters, what's going on lately?
There's nothing going on. What do you mean?
You're exactly right. That's the best way to put that. There's nothing
going on.
Nothing
to
see.
see.
There's a whole lot of fucking trying really hard, which billions and billions of dollars have been spent on trying, while politicians, instead of doing their job they've been elected to do, have spent billions and billions of dollars trying to impeach President Trump.
To undo an election. Yeah. A democratic
Which
election.
they cannot do.
Right.
That's why they're spending billions.
Ooh, hold on,
they can't
guys.
find anything.
Check this
Oh,
out.
Mike found a cookie.
I'll let you.
He's
Right
like
there,
a kid.
Scott. Read that to the left. That breaking news.
Current NFL linebacker on suspension drops bomb. NFL games are rigged. Duh. Here's my surprise face.
Well, this was a shocker when I found out for WWF years ago. All right, so not joking.
Wait, what are you trying to say? You trying to tell me WWF's fake?
I didn't want to announce that here today on the show.
Man, I had
but,
this entire list of things
I'm done.
to keep my brain fresh, and now you just jumped into something I have.
What's it say here? You can read it a little bit.
So,
Let me make it bigger for you. Hold on.
you know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I could give two shits about the NFL. Overpaid, it's just. Listen, I watch it.
It's a ring and
fantasy
circus.
football, but you're paying people millions and millions of dollars to call themselves heroes and to be public speakers. No, I watch you throw a football and run a football and tackle somebody. Other than that, you're being paid to do that.
Last year, I had a huge issue with the NFL. With Kaepernick taking the knee, I would not watch the NFL.
And
I
he
would
didn't.
not watch the team I liked, team I support. I
Just
would
kind
not
of
watch
turned
it.
you off, huh?
This year, I went, you know what? They're better about it. All right, I'll start watching them.
Because it's old news, apparently.
It is. But then
Well-
they tried making an issue or a deal about Kaepernick going and doing this training.
He doesn't
issue.
want to play football.
He does not want to play football.
Nope.
He wants to bring attention to himself a little bit more, put himself in the media a little bit more, to make more money from someone.
Yeah, because he
Okay,
had.
I hate to,
Well,
not to be derogatory on the show, but Nike and everybody else puts hot women up there.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, they just hired this bitch.
Woo!
Sorry.
It's all right.
Well, I'm sorry,
No,
but that's what it is.
No.
Well, he also called the night before all that and was asking all these, can I bring my own press in? And that's kind of like,
My own receivers, my own press.
I can't do that at a concert. Like, they don't want your phone out recording. It's all these
Wanted to
issues.
move it.
Yeah. So he had
He wants to go down as something, and it sure as hell ain't going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I think.
The guy's got
but
a
he was
cannon on
decent.
him.
That's what I don't understand. He
right
was.
there.
he wasn't
just
good
wants
enough.
attention. It's a prima donna.
He doesn't. He's not a good enough quarterback. He's got a cannon on him,
Yep.
but he's not a smart enough quarterback to do what he needs to do in the NFL. And he started falling off. That's why he started creating bigger bullshit.
Dennis Rodman did the same thing, but he did it with more class. He always hung on.
Dennis Rodman switched gears on what I'm supposed to be.
Right, but didn't never disrespect the country or ask people to feel sorry
Did
for
once.
him.
Right.
So, get back on topic, or I'll take it this way. Impeachment. What do you? What have you seen, Scott? That has been.
This is what bothers me, and it should bother. I've posted some things on Facebook lately. It has nothing to do with politics, other than the simple fact. I'm probably all over the screen here. So they had this great whistleblower, and when you break it down to its simplest form, he was their number one witness, right? You kept hearing, we have this number one witness. He's going to just blow this wide open, Trump's biggest nightmare. And then, and the media went with that. Oh, we got
Was this Adam Schiff?
Yeah, Schiff was just, we got this guy.
He also had personal evidence of Russia collusion. He kept talking.
Never
about.
showed it. Well, then
I think he's still holding
Then
it.
it comes down to it, and
He's waiting.
and this is I only.
Trial's over.
So then the whistleblower is not available. Well, then it turns into, well, we're afraid for his life. Well, first of all, Schiff knew who the whistleblower. He had this information a long time ago. Second of all, everybody they've put in front of a camera has said, well, not directly, when they were finally asked, okay, you said all this information. Did you hear the president say any of this? Well, no, but enough. All these star witnesses, 5, 6 of them, cannot give you a first-hand account. Well, that's called hearsay, phone tag, whatever you want to say. So that should be all pushed aside. Well, then now they double down and say, well, we can't put the whistleblower on because his life is in danger. Trump's not going to have this guy killed. The guy does exist.
His life is endangered because he's
But,
going to cross the other side.
but the most interesting thing about this entire situation is the whistleblower. When Trump was elected, just like Pelosi, just like we all watched on election night, Pelosi, all the media, Trump's unelectable. He can't be elected. He can't be elected. Boom. As soon as he got elected, they all start crying in the streets. They, this is your America now. This is your country. Like it or not, this is blah, blah, blah. You haven't gone to hell. No, blah, blah, blah. This guy gets on right away the very next morning on his tweet account, whatever you guys, that's one thing I don't do, and says no matter what it takes. And Pelosi, and he said the same thing, Pelosi and that crazy lady wearing a cowboy hat, impeach Trump, impeach for
No, I think you're talking about Maxine Water.
Right. From day one, their whole agenda has been, because they didn't expect to be beat, but as soon as they got beat, now we go into panic mode. We got to impeach him. They didn't care what they found on him to impeach. They've been looking.
Well,
So
they
this guy says they're...
Spending billions and billions trying to impeach.
The whistle caller was the one on Twitter the day of inauguration saying, we need to impeach him. So they wait several years because they were probably smart enough going, man, he just got caught on Twitter saying this stuff. We can't use him for a couple of years. And this is how done the Democratic Party is. Well, it's been 3 years. Now we can use him. Oh, like nobody can go back and Google this guy's character?
Yeah.
And now he won't show up because he thinks that Trump supporters are going to kill. Get out of here. It's crazy, and the worst part about it is here they're doing all these investigations on Trump, right? And this isn't the first one. We all know that. So now Lindsey Graham just impressed the hell out of me because Lindsey was tough on Trump during when Trump ordered the drones to be shot down,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Lindsey's very fair. You may not like Lindsey, but at least he's fair. So now he's saying, you know what, we're going to investigate Biden because why is he making all this money, the kid, with Burisma? And by the way, when they try to spin this and say, well, Trump, this is why we're doing this, because Trump was smashing or slandering a presidential nominee. Hey, folks, Trump, or Biden wasn't even running for president when Trump asked, let's get on top of this Burisma stuff. And even the Obama administration knew there was stuff going on with it. Burisma is, Ukraine is full of corruption. But now they're upset because Lindsey Graham wants to do some research and some investigation. And Joe Biden, they asked him, he says, well, I sure wish Lindsey wouldn't do that. Well, I bet you wouldn't like him to do that. But why is it not fair for Lindsey to go after you and your son? Well, I'm a political candidate of Trump's. He shouldn't be doing this. But it happened before you even ran for president, because he was a late jumper.
Yep.
And it actually, this was going on before Trump was even in office. Obama was in office. So, fair, not fair. We only like it when Trump's being investigated. We don't like it when the Democrats are being investigated. And the American people are done being stupid.
Well, it's
I
like
think it's all done.
just the whole impeachment. You got all this stuff that we don't really know about, but Trump's phone call is impeachable. But if you think, well, what did he ask about? Well, about corruption that existed before, because Trump's worried about corruption, worrying about giving tax dollars to a country that a lot of the money, like, because we know for a fact under Obama and Biden and all them over there, that like 1.7 billion U.S. tax dollars left our thing, like a digital transfer, and it never ended up where it was supposed to.
Weird.
Shouldn't we investigate that?
Right.
Well, there's no wrongdoing with Biden. So look, Trump needs to keep it about Hunter. Hunter's not running.
Correct.
If it leads to old Lunchbox Joe, so be it.
That's Joe's fault. But isn't it strange that right before, as this is all going on, a vice president's son gets put in a very important position that has zero experience, getting paid by a corrupt company in a corrupt country, and what they're doing is blaming Trump? Usually the one that's playing the blame game is the one to blame them, actually themselves. They're doing a massive
Well, what they
cover-up.
say Trump didn't happen. You have to kind of imagine it, but we know that we saw the tape with Biden announcing when I told him to fire this guy. So they have it all, but they switch it. The only thing that they say is, well, there was already a corrupt politician in there, but that guy announced he was looking into Hunter Biden's business.
Right.
He was corrupt, and he wasn't going to look into it fairly, so Obama, Biden wanted to get in a real prosecutor that would be strong arm and look into his son's company fairly, and he did. And he, by the way, found nothing wrong. So we have to like believe that shit, and we don't.
Do you know the
No,
most...
That goes against everything logical. All my hairs stand up to tell me the opposite. Like, oh, you fire people, and oh, his son was there. Oh my God, he wanted to protect his son. Who doesn't want to protect their son?
We have to be told, and we have to hear.
We have to be
all that
retaught.
shit.
Let me
We
ask,
have
We
to
don't
be
have to
retaught.
believe.
let me ask you two and then all of our listeners. You probably haven't paid attention enough to know it because I almost missed it. But if this was so important, right? The Democrats said this is so important, this corruption at this level, we need to impeach him, blah, blah, blah. This is so important, this impeachment process. Do you realize that they all went on a 10-day vacation? It was so damn important.
Well,
and then they came back and did the impeachment process.
Real quick, EO2 Dave, thank you. Patriot Tier 3 level. He just, we have a Patriot Tier 3.
Thank you, sir.
What you just said, Scott, you named it. You're like, well, what about the fact that Biden was in charge of Ukraine, Biden was in charge of China? That's what Obama put. And then his son was on boards in both of those countries. Times that times 5. So take Pelosi's son. She was in charge of these areas. Her son worked in those 2 places. Take John Kerry's son. There's like 5 of them.
The cabal, what we've all been talking about
And
for
wherever
years.
that parent was in charge of, the kids went and worked.
Strange.
It's funny. You know me. I'm a Facebook guru, and I sit and watch people go, "None of that ever happened." I'm like, "Okay,
It's fact.
you're right." Obviously, I can't have a conversation with you. I cannot have a date. I cannot talk to you about that.
For years, Mike and I have been saying, I mean, this goes back when we started the show. We felt, not we knew, we just felt that there was something real weird going on. The cabal, all the players that were involved, and now all this patience has been paying off. You don't have Trump family members. You don't even have the rich, greedy Bush members in charge of these. You have Democratic big position people putting their kids and their protectors, and this is what goes back to what Mike has always said. It takes a while to wrap your brain around all this and break it down, because They're embedded in every level of the Justice Department, the legislature, the Senate, the White House. Then you have ambassadors. Then you have foreign dignitaries,
That lady,
leaders.
Trump.
That are all,
how about when Trump or Obama got in? He fired all 8 of the ambassadors. Like before he even took, gave out notices.
Right.
All 8 clear
Well,
your
he had the
desk.
right-
You're gone. Nobody cared. 2 of them for political reason.
Correct. But he had the right to do it, and I don't.
That's right. No, but
But we know why he did it.
Yep.
But
Now this lady wouldn't even hang the picture up of Trump in the office.
Right.
And that's like, it don't matter if you don't like him or not.
And
That's
you want me to
protocol.
believe her testimony?
Like
Yeah.
you said, protocol.
That is, every
have
VA office I've been into when I was going in 08, 09, saw pictures of Obama and then Biden. They're there.
Right.
Did everyone in? I know I didn't like what I saw,
If
but
it's
that's
a federal
president.
building, he better be there.
She refused. I
Like
guess
it
it
or
kept
not.
getting taken down time after time,
Weird.
disappearing.
Yeah.
Come on. Look at this. Just read this headline. We're not going to do anything with it, but read that.
Wolf Blitzer afraid proof of FBI criminal actions during Russia probe may make people believe it's true.
Come on now. What the hell is going on?
Here they are programming you again. Don't believe anything you hear.
You
until
said you said hearsay. They have a Democrat at the beginning or the second day of impeachment that came out and said some hearsay is better than direct. Like they were starting to push that.
If that's how you want to run your life, hey Mike, I hear,
Does that
Well,
work with
it's hearsay better
take
than
it
direct.
take it to the highest level of a court case? Like you're on trial for murder, and the only thing they got on you is
hearsay.
me coming in and saying I heard he did it.
Yeah. He was next to
That
Steve.
doesn't work.
He was
I
next
had a cousin of a friend of a sister of a brother
sitting at the
that
bar.
told me.
And overheard
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and so
They're the idea that this is going to go forward. I think they're too far down walking the plank. I don't expect them to apologize and admit. So they'll go forward. Even those that are probably going to bail. By the way, Bear, is it Matt Bear, the anchor on late night or not late night, but late news? He just interviewed 3 Democrats.
Brett Bear.
3 Democrats that said they're voting against the impeachment. Well, if they get 7 more, this shit's done.
And somebody made a comment like, this costs us both parties. Like, he's right, because there's some of the Republicans we thought were all this time. See, that's an illusion. That's where they
Why?
get you divided. Well, no, like Comey. Like James Comey, that early on, they're like, well, he's a Republican. They played that. But now Comey has said, I'm done. I'm done. How do you switch?
He's a plant.
There you go. So they were never
Switched because
really.
you got caught.
Well, how do you switch? Like, you can even hate Trump. Like, I hate Trump. I'm still a Republican. I just want to get Trump out. Not like, I hate Trump so much. I'm done. I'm going to the Democratic Party. It's like they don't even mesh up.
Either you
all these
believe
years.
one side's beliefs, or you believe the other side's beliefs.
You don't. There's not really a way to cross.
You can't switch. I
I
was raised. I
I'm
hate
wrong.
to
We're
say-
wrong on that. People have been leaving the Democratic Party all day long recently.
Sure.
Hashtag walk away. Coming to the. They
I
don't
hate to-
believe it over there
I hate to
anymore.
admit that I'm more one side than the other.
Well, don't.
You line
I
up.
was raised.
Well, you line up with
was
it.
raised on the other
border,
side.
guns, free speech, some of that stuff. It's like I'm a constitutionalist, but some people are like, no, you kind of line up with the Republican or the Conservative Party. You're right,
Well,
Absolutely.
because they're kind of.
They're more that way.
here's the fact. Are you really so naive that you think, and because there's no proof, so I'm going to say it like this: are you so naive that this hearsay little bit of information on such a huge topic, impeachment is huge, it'll bring the country further apart, but if you think for 1 second, or do you think for 1 second, that Trump is the only president, and I'm not even admitting or saying that he did anything wrong, but if you believe he did, do you think he's the only president to ever do something negligent or wrong at such a small level?
How about you listen to this?
No.
To show how simple-minded the other side is, if they disagree with something Trump does or something happens that they don't like while Trump was in office, they blame it on Trump.
Sure.
If something's good going on, they say, well, that's just because of the Obama administration.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to name any names. Mayor in our close little town,
Oh, you can. You can.
Buttigieg. He cannot be one man. Why is crime rate going up so much? How can he fix that? But if one little thing goes wrong in the country,
Right.
It's Trump's fault.
Correct.
If one good thing's going on, it's because Obama led to that.
Yep.
It's how simple-minded it is.
It's
on the other side.
hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy at the biggest level. Clinton got impeached, and I just had an argument from one of our local liberals that said, Trump should be impeached and blah blah blah. I said, and then her argument was, well, they impeached Clinton. I said, well, you know the difference between the two? Bill Clinton sat in front of the legislature and lied. He got brought up on 2 charges of impeachment. One, obstructing justice and lying under the oath.
Well, he even initially got called in for the Paula Jones stuff. It was nothing to do with Monica. That broke while he was in part of that, so they brought it up that day. Like, by the way, there's a new breaking thing. What about this Monica? And he's like, I never knew. I know. And then it came out. So that was a lying charge. So
didn't he finish his presidency and wasn't he pardoned?
Yeah.
So let's move on.
So there's impeachment. Look, impeachment is the process. Impeached. I learned this a long time ago when I was a kid, but so he was impeachment, the process. He lied. It was nothing. Actually, everyone's like, well, you got brought up on getting this in the Oval Office. No, it was nothing to do with that. It was because he lied during talks about that, and they wanted to know more about it.
His spot.
Nobody cared. It went away.
It's a title. Yep. He was impeached.
Yep.
I got we're gonna show a little something here. I want you guys to see. I'm gonna show a few minutes. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna come back, and then I'm gonna show a little more. We'll take a break when we come to the second part for 10 minutes because it's 40 minutes. We're not gonna watch it all, but I highly encourage Scott, Nate, and some of you to watch this. This is Bill Barr last Friday at the Federalist.
Yeah.
I got a little clip here. Hold on here.
Barr's a genius.
Directed by a pre-existing legal regime, but rather demands speed, secrecy, unity of purpose, and prudent judgment to meet contingency. They agreed that due to the very nature of the activities involved and the kinds of decision-making that are required, the Constitution generally vested authority over these spheres in the executive. For example, Jefferson, our first Secretary of State, described the conduct of foreign relations or platement, and others are implicit in the Constitution. For example, the removal power. One of the more amusing aspects of modern progressive polemic is their breathless attacks on the unitary executive theory. They portray this as some newfangled theory to justify executive power of sweeping and unfettered scope. I think some of you may have seen that horrible movie Vice about Vice President Dick Cheney, and there's this scene where the young Dick Cheney, he was young, I think he may have been 36, and he was chief of staff at the White House. He goes in to meet the young Nino Scalia over at the Office of Legal Counsel, and they talk about this new nefarious theory that will allow them to just take over the world, and it's called the unitary executive theory. And some of you may recall when I was up for confirmation, all these Democratic senators saying how concerned they were about my adherence to the unitary executive theory. In reality, the idea of the unitary executive does not go so much to the breadth of presidential power. Rather, the idea is that whatever the executive power may be, those powers must be exercised under the president's supervision. This is not new, and it's not a theory. It's a description of what the framers did in Article 2. So let me turn now to how the executive is presently faring in these interbranch battles. Now, in recent years, both the legislative and judicial branches, I think, have been responsible for encroaching on the president's constitutional authority. So let me first say something about the legislature. As I've said, the framers fully expected intense pulling and hauling between Congress and the executive. Unfortunately, just in the past few years, we have seen these conflicts take on an entirely new character. Immediately after President Trump won election, opponents inaugurated what they called the resistance. And they rallied around an explicit strategy of using every tool and maneuver to sabotage the functioning of the executive branch and his administration. Now, resisting the president's constitutional authority, so let me first. Immediately after President Trump won election, opponents inaugurated what they called the resistance. And they rallied around an explicit strategy of using every tool and maneuver to sabotage the functioning of the executive branch and his administration. Now, resistance is the language used to describe insurgency against rule imposed by an occupying military power. It obviously connotes that the government is not legitimate. This is a very dangerous and indeed incendiary notion to import into the politics of a democratic republic.
Okay, that was huge. I wanted you guys to hear that. He called it the La Resistance that was started once Trump won. We're going to take a small break. I want you to hear a little bit more of this, but I wanted to hit that on the head. And
the resistance is ridiculous.
well, that's what people were hashtagging on Twitter. A lot of this is what's funny. The lawyer for the whistleblower right now that we don't know, it doesn't exist maybe, but the lawyer for the whistleblower in 2016, right when Trump won, he made a series of texts. And this is random as hell, but 3 years ago he made he'll never let the resistance start. Here's what, and he laid it out like this will happen, and then impeachment, and ultimately lead to his impeachment. And that's what's going on now. This guy is the lawyer for the whistleblower, but yet 3 years ago I was like, wow, he's like I did a video called Nostradamus. We got a Nostradamus on our hands here.
They're real good at narratives, aren't they?
We got a Nostradamus here. Right. You know, this guy predicted.
Absolutely.
So this is.
Then why didn't he predict that Trump was going to win? Because they all.
He wasn't going to win.
It's their entire.
There's no way he was going to win.
This is what's sad, is they're so butthurt that their lady didn't win. Well, she screwed Bernie over anyway. We all know that. But they're so angry that they got it wrong.
You think Bernie would have won if
I think so.
If he'd have beat Hillary? I don't think he would have.
He could, who knows? And we'll never know. But he got screwed by Hillary and the DNC.
Yeah, that's all
and
that
they
matters.
admitted it.
He did get screwed by Hillary.
They admitted it.
And I honestly think that us.
My point was they're acting like we did when we were juvenile boys, 14, 15.
Yes.
You're so wrong. And instead of saying I'm
words.
sorry, you're filled full of this misguided juvenile pride that the words sorry and I'm wrong don't exist. Our dads did a good job, or whoever was in our lives. You grow into that.
Yes.
But you have grown adults saying, I'm not sorry. No, we weren't wrong. He cheated, and because we proved it, or couldn't prove he cheated, we knew he was colluding with the Russians. And since we couldn't do that, now we're saying that he's involved in Ukraine. And when they fail at that, they're going to say something else. They're just acting like misguided.
I honestly think that I go the way I go in more of a way than you do, because I was raised on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know my old man. He's dead and gone, and he's going, damn it, Nate.
God bless
damn it,
his
Nate,
soul.
Damn it, Nate.
He was a good man, but
Good man.
But
he's right.
But if I got to sit down and talk to him when President Trump was going up for election, I think I'd have swayed his ways.
Well,
I think he'd have turned. I honestly
Really?
think
It's not
that
clear
I'd
to
have-
see.
I think that I'd have pushed him to elect that way.
yeah, I think he's old school enough and conservative
He's
enough
old
with his
school, but he
family
would have
values.
Well, you guys gotta. Here's the other fact that's coming out. Like, so we're all talking about Trump getting spied on with the FISA courts. That's huge, and they're giving their excuses of why. But what about? We know that before they went the legal route, that was only after Trump won. So
Right.
Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, the FBI, they were talking about the insurance. The insurance was if Trump wins,
The ace in the hole.
we need to, well, they had to go legit. So they were using the Five Eye, the foreign governments to spy. Once Trump won, they couldn't continue that because Obama was leaving. So they all left, but they got that's when they created the dossier to quickly,
Correct.
to get a legitimate spyway going that hopefully, even though they're gone, that they can get them to come down.
Right.
That was planned. That's what we're still under now. There's an active coup in the government. We're hoping that with the Horowitz and everything coming up in the next 2 weeks will stop it. If not, the only option I think Trump has left is the Insurrection Act, which is a form of martial law to take down this coup, because every single legal aspect has been, I can tell you right now, Mueller didn't do his job because this coup's still going. So I know that Mueller's bad. Otherwise, the coup would be stopped.
Implant. They were this close, folks. They were this. If Hillary won, the cabal was complete. I mean, you have all these.
The only way to keep all this covered up was for her to win.
You look at the layers.
absolutely.
You and I have laughed about this because now where it stands, and we all know as followers, and others just hope, but Trump never backed down. He's like, let's open the investigation.
Yeah.
Because he knew, and they weren't smart enough to understand it. As soon as they bring certain evidence into court, he then also gets to say, well, you opened up Pandora's box, so now let's really talk about, because there's so much information, so much going on, and they were so, if on page 1 of the book of getting Trump impeached was absolute fact, and everything after that was damning, they're stupid enough to still do it's exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Look,
Well,
he's guilty. You open the book, now he gets to use it against you, and they're just.
Any of you out there get questioned this, or I'm going to give you guys ammo. We're going to watch a little more bar. You guys watch it. We're going to take a small break, get another refill, use the restroom, whatever. But ask if anyone comes to you, and this is ammo, all of us, and says, you can't do that. What Trump's doing to Biden, that's a political. Say, then how did Trump get fucking spied on? Excuse my language. How did it happen to Trump in 2016?
Because they didn't care.
He was a candidate.
They didn't care.
They'll ignore everything that's telling you shouldn't happen. You can't spy on it.
They swore up and down, there's no chance in hell that guy's going to win.
That's why they didn't care.
So they didn't care.
It was all going
So,
to get
but
covered
we have to
up.
listen to these same
Then he
people that are
wins.
yelling at you today.
He
You
wins.
can't do what he's doing. It's like, well, how did it happen? How did he get?
Right.
You know why he can do what he's doing?
Because he's the
'Cause he's
president.
damn good at what he does.
Well,
You can say because he's president. I say because he's damn good at what he does.
well, I read a little thing that if you're
He's not-
if you win president, or if you were to win president, or I, whoever, if you come in and you find the heads of any of these intelligence agencies to be corrupt, now you can't argue that they were, because who's been fired from the head of the FBI? Who's been fired from the head of the DOJ? Who's been fired from the
Exactly.
head of the CIA? They've all been fired. So that means that agency was corrupt. Now, he didn't shut them down. He did it the proper way and got rid of them over time through court
And
processes.
you remember all the QAnons.
And proved
He
it.
made-
So now there's no doubt
he
that they
made-
were corrupt.
He made other people make the call. To get
Showed
rid
it
of him.
organically instead of coming in like
Correct.
a
He
Hitler.
didn't say.
Or,
He didn't say. He's allowed to say you're gone.
Yeah.
yeah.
He didn't say you're gone.
Some
He
people
said,
on the channel want, why didn't
want
Trump get in
somebody
on
else
day
to
one and
prove-
arrest Hillary?
Right.
Does Trump
They're
arrest
done.
people? No. You have to order the FBI, go arrest her. Well, who just got done letting her off the hook? The FBI. So how can Trump get in on day one? He doesn't arrest Hillary.
'Cause
He has to order the FBI. And they're like, well, we just cleared her on everything. What do you want us to
This
do,
is why
Trump?
I say we
He's
were
not
that
gonna
close.
arrest her.
We were that close. If she got, and he's right, and you're right, and we're right, and they're all right. If she got elected, none of this.
Oh, it would be all
Would it ever
every
happen?
investigation. We get day one, week two, FBI. Bill Clinton gets in. He fires the head of the FBI. Guess who that was? Jeff Sessions.
Yep.
He's still around
yeah,
today.
yeah,
He's still around today. He fires him because there was an investigation pending. Nobody screamed back then, oh, he's shutting down. Now, when Trump got in, what did they do? He can't fire Mueller, which he had the right to do. They all serve at his pleasure, but they started an
Could've,
investigation.
but
But it would have
didn't.
looked bad. So they
He
started.
made
They
somebody
started saying,
else do it.
Scott, we need to write paperwork, and people from the left are saying we need to get paperwork in to take power away from the president so he can't fire people.
So if
Trump never fired them.
No, his thing was he said, "Do your research,
do
make
your
this
job.
all legal,
Yep.
get rid of him the way you have to get rid of him.
Yeah.
If you can't find enough evidence, then you can't get rid of him."
The president works in an elevated mode once you find out.
This president,
He didn't put stuff on servers. These deep state couldn't find things to leak. Then it comes out in the news that Trump's putting stuff on secret. You think he just comes in? I don't know, put stuff on a secret server.
How did you know
that's
that?
intelligence people, military intelligence.
Right.
You need to do this because you had a leak every day in office for the first year.
What was your joke earlier? You and I just kind of played, and most people wouldn't get it right away, but so and so does this or so and so does that, and then Trump gets to say, "Well, how the hell did you know that? I put that on a private secured server." Oh well, we were breaking the
dipshit tweets.
How did you?
Were for a reason.
Yes.
He's just fishing.
Setting you up.
He's fishing.
He's playing the
He's
best.
going, come on, cupcakes.
All right.
All right.
We'll be right back. Watch a little of this. We'll come back, wrap it up, and go over a few more things. And thanks for joining. But watch a bar here a little bit.
Is that instead of viewing themselves as the loyal opposition, as opposing parties have done in this country for over 200 years, they essentially see themselves as engaged in a war to cripple by any means necessary a duly elected government. A prime example of this is the Senate's unprecedented abuse of the advice and consent process. The Senate is, of course, free to exercise that power to reject what it deems to be unqualified nominees. But that power was never intended to allow the Senate to systematically oppose and draw out the approval process for every appointee so as to prevent the president from building a functional branch of government. Yet that is precisely what the Senate minority has done from President Trump's very first day in office. As of September of this year, the Senate has been forced to invoke cloture on 236 Trump nominees, each of those representing its own massive consumption of legislative time meant only to delay the inevitable confirmation. How many times was cloture invoked on nominees during President Obama's administration? 17 over 8 years. And how about the second President Bush's first term? 4 times. It is reasonable to wonder whether a future president will actually be able to form a functioning administration if his or her party does not hold the Senate. Now, Congress in recent years has largely abdicated its core function of legislating on the most pressing issues facing the nation. They either decline to legislate on major questions, or if they do, they punt the most difficult and critical issues by making broad delegations to a modern administrative state that they increasingly seek to insulate from presidential control. This phenomenon first arose, as we all know, in the wake of the Great Depression, as Congress created a number of so-called independent agencies and housed them, at least nominally, in the executive branch. More recently, the Dodd-Frank Act's creation of the CFPB, a single-headed independent agency that functions like a junior varsity president for economic regulation, is just one of many examples. Of course, Congress's effective withdrawal from the business of legislating leaves it with a lot of time on its hands. And in the pursuit of this choice of how to pursue what to do with all this time, they have decided, especially the opposition party, to drown the executive branch with oversight demands for testimony and documents. Now, I don't deny that Congress has some implied authority to conduct oversight as an incident to its legislative power, but the sheer volume of what we see today, the pursuit of scores of parallel investigations through an avalanche of subpoenas, is plainly designed to incapacitate the executive branch, and indeed is touted as such. The costs of this constant harassment are real. For example, we all understand that confidential communications and the private internal deliberative process are essential to all of our branches of government to properly function. Congress and the judiciary know this well, as both have taken great pains to shield their own internal communications from public inspection. There is no FOIA for Congress and the courts. Yet Congress has happily created a regime that allows the public to seek whatever documents it wants from the executive branch, at the same time that individual congressional committees spend their days trying to publicize the executive internal deliberations. That process cannot function properly if it is public, nor is it productive to have our government devoting enormous resources to squabbling about what becomes public and when, rather than doing the work of the people. In recent years, we have seen substantial encroachment by Congress in the area of executive privilege. The executive branch and the Supreme Court have long recognized that the need for confidentiality in the executive branch necessarily means that some communications must remain private. There was a time when Congress respected this important principle as well. But today, Congress is increasingly quick to dismiss good faith attempts to protect executive branch equities, labeling such efforts obstruction of Congress, and holding cabinet secretaries, even the Attorney General, in contempt. One of the ironies of today is that those who oppose this president constantly accuse this administration of shredding constitutional norms and waging a war on the rule of law. Of course, there is no substance to these claims. When I ask my friends on the other side, what exactly are you referring to? I usually get vacuous stares and sputtering about the travel ban or some such thing. The fact is that, yes, while the president has certainly thrown out the traditional Beltway playbook and punctilio, he was upfront about what he was going to do, and the people decided they wanted him to serve as president. But what I'm talking about now are fundamental constitutional precepts. And the fact is that this administration's policy actions and its policy initiatives, including the travel ban, have transgressed neither constitutional nor traditional norms and have been amply supported by the law and patiently litigated through the courts to vindication. Indeed, measures undertaken by this administration seem a bit tame when compared to some of the unprecedented steps taken by the Obama administration's aggressive exercise of executive power. And I say that as someone who admires a muscular executive. The fact of the matter is that in waging a scorched earth, no-holds-barred war of resistance against this administration, it is the left that is engaged in the systematic shredding of norms and undermining the rule of law. This highlights a basic disadvantage that conservatives have had in contesting the political issues of the day. It goes back to the beginning of the Republic. It was adverted to by that old curmudgeonly Federalist, Fisher Ames, in several of his essays during the early Republic, and I paraphrase. In any age, the so-called progressives treat politics as a religion. Their holy mission is to use the coercive power of the state to remake man and society in their own image according to an abstract ideal of perfection. Whatever means they use are therefore justified because, by definition, they are virtuous people pursuing a deific end. They are willing to use any means necessary to gain momentary advantage in achieving their end, regardless of the collateral consequences and the systemic implications. They never ask whether the action they take could be justified as a general rule of conduct equally applicable to all sides. What would we think if the shoe were on the other foot? And yet we hear them irresponsibly tabling proposals to do away with the Electoral College or to pack the courts. Who's shredding constitutional norms? Conservatives, on the other hand, do not seek an earthly paradise. We are...
All right, we're back.
That guy's a genius, just straight up genius. And he served before. He's been through this before.
Let me.
What was the guy's name you just said? Four presidencies, 4 administrations.
Bull Durham.
Yeah. No, that's the movie.
No, that's what Trump calls him.
Oh.
Bull Durham. Durham. John Durham,
Yeah.
the prosecutor.
Very bipartisan.
Yeah, he's actually got the authority to.
YouTube studio. Mike's looking at statistics behind the scene.
Mel said you guys
We
really
got-
enjoy my pig.
We got lots of.
Yes.
It's a good pig.
It's a good pig.
We've ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, Scott's had him for like 2 years now.
At least I know who grows it. You know who's raising them, and it's not coming from Walmart's.
Okay, I got to do a couple of shout outs here real quick because it's part of the. Okay, so we got 29 members on the channel at this point. Wow. At tier 1 support, we got 21 people. At tier 2, we got 6. And at tier 3, we got 2.
Oh man.
Right on.
And I need to do a shout out on
Keep
the,
going, folks.
I believe on the tier 3s. So,
Man, that's a lot going on.
tier subscribers. So we got EO2 Dave who just joined in today or upped his level. Thank you. Silver Wolf at tier 3.
Can you show the chat? Is it just one line, or do I need to follow along?
I'll bring it up in a second here.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, there you go. We got the 2 named off. Thank you guys. And
Why the green names? See, you already got one person. WW is asking, why the green names, Mike? What's green mean?
give me
Isn't that the members, the join members?
you
Faces in, you've been.
got a mod. Okay, so the
interested in preserving.
oops, let me get that off. I'm gonna bring up the chats on the main screen up there. There you go. All right, so the green next to is a member. If you're a member, what is a member? YouTube has finally added it here. You can be a member. It's join instead of subscribe, which you can also subscribe. Then you could hit the join button. You'll see it right by the subscribe button. The join button is if you want to support the Patriot Hour here for what we do and give a monthly reoccurring amount. Starts at $5. There's a $10, $25, and then there's an ultimate level at $49. Do what you can, do what you want.
But that's a YouTube thing. You weren't in control of that.
Well, no, we set up those tiers. There was plenty of options. I pretty much did it quick, but that's what I landed on. And anyway, so if those people comment or post, you're going to see unique.
See, there you go. Hattie, Nuff, Hattie. Man, I hope I'm saying that
There
right.
you go. Let me see.
Green equals tier 1. Again, the green It's just a membership situation. Nothing. It's not like the Blue Admid, which, by the way, face hello.
Yep. So we got subscribers and we got members. These people are just people that are.
I want to be a member. Sherry Hunt Bloom says.
Okay, so if you want, navigate on the channel to right by where you'd find the subscribe button, and you're going to hit the join. There is a join button. And you hit that, and then you can kind of make some choices. Anything, what else, Scott? So we were talking about impeachment. Anything you want to wrap up on that? What do you think it's going to lead? Do you think it'll...
It's not going anywhere.
Well, here's my personal belief is the impeachment process is probably going to finish through the House. My understanding is it still takes. Well, they're not gonna apologize.
Yeah.
Although I think if I was in the Democratic Party, I'd say, hey, let's save face because we'll be able to use that later. Like, hey, listen, we were honest enough to say there was no problem, blah blah blah. So we bowed out, and that could help them later on. I don't want to help them any more than I should.
What kills me more than anything is that we got to go. Hey, it's going to do this in the House, but it's not going to do this in the Senate.
Supermajority.
It's a crock of shit to me. We should be a country all together. We should all agree. I understand that majority is controlled here, majority is controlled there. But why are we that separated?
Divided.
It comes back to the media being biased and separating blacks and whites. I mean, everybody that's in control of anything that has something to do with your mind is trying to control what you think and make you biased one way or the other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Democrat, Republican, black, white, it doesn't matter.
It's a big numbers game, and
It's a joke to me. Why don't we all just come together, quit being so damn pissed off at each other?
I think
we'll
more
get
and
there.
more. And here's what.
If we go our way, we're getting there.
My belief is that the
I
media
honestly believe that.
is always putting a camera and a microphone in front of the wrong people. I'm not.
They're putting it in front of the right people for their reasoning.
Well, yeah, but like I
Their
was always
agenda.
taught is the majority of the country doesn't believe or act the way that the media portrays. Now
the
the
majority
media,
absolutely does not, 100%.
right, and then that's exactly right. But what their job is to try to persuade all of us that this is what you perceive. So it's the truth. This is what you see all the time.
And most of the mouths on social media,
that's giving everybody.
most of the mouths are on that side.
Yeah. But
You argue a lot on social media. I argue a lot on social media. There's a lot we go past. We don't say a word about
right.
because we know how to go. It's not worth it.
On that, if you argue
They
with the fool,
don't know
who's
how
the
to do
fool
that.
type thing. So they're doing a good job of illustrating their agenda, but I think they're missing the point that most of us are smart enough to know just because you keep putting this stuff in front of us, that 10% that you keep putting in front of us, we're all smart enough to know that's a very small minority of the country. Why they've never decided to just capture the majority, because the ratings would go up, they'd make more money. So here's what I do know. It's not about money. It's about power.
That's a lie.
Well, no. If you're going after
The majority of the
advertisement, you
people
go
that-
after the
The
largest
majority
group
of
of
the
people.
people that put money up listen to that side. It doesn't mean that's the majority of the people of the country.
Well, no, like our show, though. We have advertisement that pop up, and we can't control that. They do that for a reason. So why...
And those people that follow us follow those advertisements. But the majority of the people that follow the crooked,
you think that's where the money's coming from?
they're getting that. They're getting their money there. That's the majority of the people that follow them. That's not the majority of the company or the country.
So you would be one that would say that the liberals have billionaires, too. It's just not Republicans are the only ones that
by
agree to
far.
Well, we know the media's own. Q's told us it just got dropped 2 nights ago again. 6 companies own it.
Well,
All the
am
media.
I wrong, Mike?
That's
Or 6 people.
Am I wrong that the majority of the people that follow the media and post on social media with loudmouth, obnoxious, defending ways are liberals, are
90%.
left-sided,
Yeah, no, it's 90%
They do.
owned. It's a liberal.
and us right-sided people go,
Well, how many channels
not even
can
worth
you
arguing
find that
about.
you argue? Like, don't you only kind of watch Fox News and they're getting bad? They hired who? The lady that screwed over.
They're all
the one that was
bad.
in with Hillary got the questions and.
You gotta be smart enough to fucking watch everything.
Well, there's a few
You
few
gotta
people.
pick and choose.
Yeah.
And then you gotta go, all right, now I gotta do my research on what I just heard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can't be
You gotta
spoon
smart
fed
enough
anymore.
to do that. You can't just go, I heard that, I believe it.
I try to get a lot from, believe it or not, BBC anymore. I don't want to. I don't even watch the news at night. I really don't. There was a time I did, and then I caught myself hearing the same stories every day, day after day, day after day, like the sky
You
is
can't even
falling.
watch late night comedy anymore.
Oh God, you're so right. Yeah,
Late night comedy used to be funny,
used to be.
and no matter, it was always against a president.
Oh yeah,
Always.
but
it was with dignity.
yeah.
It was
Johnny Carson
funny.
did a good job all the time. You know that's why he.
Saturday Night Live did too.
And then they went.
Now they're so biased to one side that it's just no fun watching them anymore. It's
You
like
know, tuning in, you're not going to hear anything about a Democrat. You're going to hear everything about a Republican.
everything about Republicans.
Here now, I know there's a bunch of new Q and we're not getting into them, but listen. This is just hit what he just said. So this is from the 21st of November at 5 p.m. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled, owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent?
What happens when they're not? They never have been.
What happens when news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when news simply becomes an extension arm of a political party? Fact becomes fiction. Fiction becomes fact. When does news become propaganda? Identity creation. How does the average person who is under constant financial stress, by design, find time to research and discern fact from fiction? Majority of the people more prone to believe someone in power sitting behind a big brand news name. So when they put them people on those big channels, right? Do people, the human psyche, tend to follow the majority, the mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated and shunned? How many people are bandwagon just in sports?
Oh yeah.
You know, so some people at work, they're like, oh, everyone's voting for Hillary. I want to too, so we could all talk together.
Right.
I don't want to be the only Trump person. You know, I mean, that's huge.
That's the worst part about this country. Is
That's huge.
People are so scared of being. They're so weak.
I say
They're
that's
scared.
one of
to
the
be
biggest
disliked
ones
by somebody else.
I've ever seen happen in my face was that human psyche of people want to be right. They don't want
I've
to.
been in a group.
They want to be group. It's
You'd rather-
groupthink. It's
You'd
group.
rather be right and look good than make the
Yes.
tough
I've
decision.
been in a group of 10 guys. 8 of the 10 were totally against Trump. Me and one other guy were for Trump. Did that make me back down? No. Damn it, people. Step up. Be your own person. Be you.
Don't be the duck in the
Quit
water.
being scared of what everybody thinks about you.
All right, here, divided by religion, divided by sex, divided by political affiliation, divided by class. When you're divided and angry and controlled,
Yeah.
you target those different from you.
How can you be divided by sex when we have 16 of them?
That's, oh man, that could be a whole new show.
That's
Yeah.
the whole. That's one side to the other side.
Oh, it's so-
There's only one side that has 16. The other side has 2.
Ooh, I like this. And we'll kind of end it here, other than we'll talk for a minute. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable. Groupthink collective and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason. What is that? Empiricism. Rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. Wow.
I'll give you this.
That is
There's a reason why a lot of people, and when I say a lot, for their group, a lot of people, the Antifas or the protesters, there's a reason why they come together. And it seems to me that, and without really labeling, but it seems to me that it's a group of people that are always offended all the time about everything. And when they protest and when they stand in front of highways, in front of vehicles, and when they go out and have their scream events and their complaining events and all these other things, most of us look at that like, gosh, if you had a job and you were busy, you wouldn't be so focused on whoever's brainwashing you. Can you imagine? And I think we all are in this group where we laugh and say, like when the World War I and II happened, or Vietnam, or whatever, when we really need to unite, we unite. What I'd like to see is not necessarily another 9/11 event, but the days after 9/11, it didn't matter what
The
spectrum you
days
were
after
from.
9/11,
Everybody was together.
Yep.
Because
every American or non-American that was in this country loved each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
not a dry eye in the room type thing for months.
It was sickening to see that go from there to here.
Oh yeah. I agree.
I don't know what happened, and right now those
Stupid Facebook posts that say, "Did you forget?" I didn't forget. They're stupid. They're Facebook posts, but literally, seriously, did you forget? Because I didn't forget.
Nope.
I actually think the
every one
internet's
of
the
us
worst
in this
thing
room
for
and
us.
most people listening to us know exactly where we were at when it happened.
Yep.
We know the exact time of day it was. We know exactly
But these youngsters don't.
what we found
If
out.
you're in your mid-20s or younger, you don't know. So it's
No.
real easy for
Yeah.
you to look past the fact that, well, this country is horrible. Wait, where did you go to school
Well-
and get indoctrinated? Oh, public schools?
But then again, the worst part about that is a lot of them are following their parents who are our age.
No, I say a lot of kids can leave the house by 18
Yeah.
and be set for like they instilled in them is I'm a Republican. I like the Bears, and
Because that's what they
I'm
had.
this religion.
Yeah. Their most influential years, they were around a certain thing.
Like I just said to you guys earlier, I was raised Democrat. It took me, the job that I have pushes me to be a Democrat.
Well, yeah, I was union for many years as well.
Well,
Ugh.
I
You let the cat out the
I'm
bag.
union. I'm union. And I decided this isn't working.
Yeah, I don't have to be group
The
think.
economy is not proven to me that I should vote Democrat. I got to vote this way because I love having a job. I love the economy being the way it is. I love always having work out there. So I had to go to the other side. My business agents and all them, they've all bitched at me for it. And I said, you know what? Kiss my ass.
And that's what's
You are not
American
paying
right
my
there.
bills.
right.
I'm paying my bills, and this is how I see a better way to pay my bills.
And that's what's sad to where even at the lowest level in our worlds, in our lives, the division, there should the ultimate country that it used to be, or right after 9/11 was, nobody cared what color, sex, creed you were, what job you had. What was most important is, are we safe? We live in the greatest country on the planet.
How do you know that?
And,
How do you know we live in the greatest country on the planet?
the freedoms that
No.
the Constitution gives me.
I got one
No,
answer that's right.
Well,
How do you know you live in the greatest country on the planet?
I'm doing this show with my friends.
Because everybody wants to be here.
Well, that's
Right.
right. There you go.
It's a good, yeah.
If it was so damn horrible, why the floodgates?
Why come here and then try to change us?
Why aren't we trying to get into
Why
China?
do you want us to be like the place you came from?
Right.
You came here for a reason. Because it's better.
Well, and if we don't have law and order here, it's like a lot of times where they're escaping from.
Oh,
Isn't
and
that amazing?
That's what
That's
they're
what I'm
trying
saying.
to get to.
That's what it doesn't.
They come here, an issue happens, somebody in their family gets in trouble, then all of a sudden, boom.
I am a firm believer that Trump is doing the tariffs and all that to build it up to that we're going to be tax free here, because that was our original thought when we broke away from England and we decide why are we putting money into this King George over there.
It was law. It
Yeah,
was law.
we made it to where we should charge tariffs. So the idea was to charge other foreign countries when they do business with America,
Correct.
to charge them the taxes that we should pay, and we'll live off that, and we'll all be kings. So we're gonna get back to that, but you need to have a border, and because everyone will be trying to get in then.
I'm very for and
Everybody.
I'm very for and very against being tax free. I'm both sides. It's like,
Well, we're being taxed to the gills
Well-
right now. How do you like it?
well, I hate it. But the thing is how do you stop everybody else from trying to take advantage of it?
Well, no, if nobody's paying taxes anymore, we're like what you earn is what you get.
That's fine. But
Also, free
but
energy will come
what
into
other
play.
laws?
Trump's going to release our free energy. No more.
Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah.
What other laws do you have to pass in order for that to be active?
Actually, just go back to
No,
the original
we
documentation.
need to rip up stuff
There you
and
go.
unsign it, or however. I don't know what the process is, but
wasting one hand, shitting the other.
Well,
That's
that law,
not going to happen.
that law is already on the books. They just made amendment and amendment.
no.
and
Well,
amendment
right
and
now
amendment.
Trump
I'm all for
is
it.
well. Trump's doing tariffs. We know that,
I know
right? You
he
heard
is.
it.
I know.
So that you got to imagine that coffer's like it's like in a desk drawer. The secretary like, go to our petty cash, and they kept opening that, unlocking it. Like, there's nothing in the petty cash. Oh, they better put another hundy in there. Well, Trump is filling up the Department of Treasury's coffers for the first time in 100 years.
Correct.
So we're getting money in there. We typically have to borrow money as a country from the Fed Reserve at a tax, But now Trump can
Wait
say,
a
"Well,
minute.
I'm
Aren't we
gonna
going farther in debt right now?
yeah, I have a,
No.
there's
No.
no, we're not.
Oh, we're
No,
all-
we're not.
Well, the overall,
We're always in debt. We're
yeah,
going in debt
that
every
game.
day.
If you're borrowing money from the
China?
Fed, you're going into debt.
We owe
if
China
you're borrowing money, you're going into debt, and we have to keep borrowing money. That's how because the amount in the
Which-
coffers isn't there yet. It's just started.
We're
But
16-year-old boys on mother's teat. And that started 50, 60 years ago, and we just got comfortable.
well, like they said, these articles in 2017 when Trump was first starting to do tariffs, like Trump got 16 billion so far in the middle of the summer of 17, his first 6 months in. They're like 12 billion ain't nothing. And these articles, you're like, oh my, it's not really compared. And they're like, we get 4 trillion right now. But the article didn't go into elaboration of how they get. What you have to know is that 4 trillion is our Americans' tax
He's got
dollars
a
from
lot of shit.
till April 1st. That
He's got
first
a lot
4
of
months.
shit to catch up on.
Yeah.
Which
Somebody
might
just
put him
said-
back a little bit, but he's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, you can't blame like trying to go back to tariffs. That's what our original idea was, and it's like that won't work today. The government needs 4 trillion a year to operate. Well, we're getting really big. See, Congress is only
That's
supposed
fine.
to meet. Congress
they
is
they
Congress.
might need
is,
4 trillion.
well, Congress
But
is only
tariff
supposed to
that
meet
on
twice a year.
Incoming.
Hold on.
Twice a year, Congress.
Your link.
They now all have full-time jobs, and they sit up there and create impeachment bullshit, and they go every day of the week where that's where our tax dollars. Before the Senate or the Congress would go back home, the wife would yell out like, "Hey, they need you up in D.C." and he'd like throw down his farm equipment, bitch about having to go to D.C. I'll be back in 1 week. Get Johnny and Billy over here to help with the farm while I'm gone. And they had a real issue to get back home to their farm and their family. Well, now they all live in D.C. They make sure that they're there 24/7. It's become a full-time job.
We all have incomes for different reasons. We all have incomes. We all pay our taxes. We have so many individuals in this country that live off my income.
Yes.
Your income. Your income.
Can't become a member. Hold on, we got a problem.
Hold
We got people saying they can't. The link won't work. Can't become a member.
Keep trying, folks. I don't know what.
Keep trying. Yeah, persistence always prevails.
I see we just got a new one added. I see one added. Yeah, you have to hit that join button and then figure it out from there. Nate was in a good conversation.
Sorry, I just.
No, you're fine.
I
You're
hate
fine.
this.
That's a good reason to stop. We are at 30 members, so whoever Paulette Downing just joined. Thank you, Paulette Downing.
Thank you, Paulette.
And Andrea, did you say okay? If you say so, maybe it's on your end. It could be, but we've got all these other people joining, so I'm just gonna say, try.
Log out, come back into the chat,
Yeah,
or the live feed. Always do that. I'm getting buffered. Just jump out, jump back in. It should correct itself. We're getting a great stream. I'm seeing.
Maybe we can get one of the mods to help her along while we finish up here.
So yeah, Paulette Downing, welcome to Tier 1. All right, Nate, back to you. If I can put it to you this way, what do you want to tell? We got about 400 people in the room. In a nutshell, I don't know. What do you think with
Your sign off.
your sign off? What do you think? Impeachment problem.
My sign off.
Wrap
is
it up.
If you're going to talk about the impeachment, it's just a joke to me. It really is. I mean, and it's not because I'm one-sided. I promise that.
You listened. You've probably been watching. I know Nate. I can vouch for that.
I do not do the research that Mike does, but I've done enough research to know it's a joke. The billions that have been spent on people chasing down nothing. They're trying to find something instead of doing their elected jobs. They're being paid millions a year.
As a whole, yeah.
And they're trying to find some way, somehow, to get rid of Trump because they lost, because they don't like the way that he tweets.
Yep.
They're chasing him down for that. And it's a crock of shit. I love the man for that. I hated him at first. I'm like, no, I voted for him. I'm not going to lie. I hated him for the way he talks. I'm like, damn it, quit talking like that.
Yeah.
Then after a little while, I was like, damn it, keep going.
Yeah, now you see what it's...
You're drawing, you're doing that for a reason. You're drawing these people in. You're letting them incriminate themselves. Keep going.
He's saying he's the master troller, Trump. He's been doing it.
He is top notch. The guy is very extravagant, very intelligent. You cannot take that from the guy, no matter how much you try. That's why he is what he is right now.
I would add a lot of the media pundits have said, "Oh, look, he can't keep someone." You hear him announce that someone's coming in, and then about a week, 2 weeks later, they're out, and they're like, well, the old way in D.C. was they hire people 30 years ago by mistakes or not." I was telling Scott this. I watched a guy, and he's like, the big thing to be good for a business is to have a revolving door. Get good at hiring or get good at firing.
Get really good at firing.
Yep. And
Get good at hiring, get really good at firing.
Yep. You don't,
Make sure
instead of going out, I got to search and find the best person, just get good at firing, and then
Once you
eventually
got
you'll
him in
quit
there-
firing that guy because he's really good, and you're going to fire and then you'll end up with a batch of 6 guys that you fired 100 to get to.
Right.
Yep.
You played the whole fishing
The
game.
cycle game.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you get a guy in there that proves their worth, or a woman,
You hold on to him.
you grab a hold of them,
Yep.
and you take them under your wing.
Yeah.
And you, hey, let's do it this way, or let's do it your way.
Don't
Because
we
I
see
like your
Trump
way.
just that alone? Like I hear these, like I think it was Biden. He's like, Trump's going against every norm of every president's before him. I was like,
Yeah, good.
that's like
Good.
what I want. Oh my God, that's you hear that?
Trump
That's,
got elected
Little
as a president, now not a politician.
correct. Somebody different. And that should
that's what we
speak
needed.
volumes
Yeah.
to the American people. I mean, we all wanted something different. Now that we got it, the media is not
people
happy
liked what he
about
was saying. I mean, if you listen to those anti-corruption, blah blah blah, for months leading up, and they bought in. That's all we ever have with these politicians is to hear them and hope that they're not lying out their ass, because that's all.
it. They're all in the same club.
It's like, I want to really get to know this guy. You're not. You're only going to hear him on TV.
Democrats
talking.
and Republicans, when they've been in there for years and years and years, they're all on the same page. They're all going,
Yep.
I got to go this side. That's why they sit down
WWF, right,
and they
on
play on their
TV.
phone. Seriously, you'll see half of a room stand up and cheer. You'll see half the room playing on their phone,
It's
talking
a-
to their friends.
It's a game.
You're a 12-year-old little girl. You're trying to get everybody involved in your clique.
Yeah,
Come on, people. We're bigger than that.
that's right. Wake up.
I'll end on this. Impeachment. Obviously, it's a game. It's bad politics, bad for the country. All it's doing is more and more division. When they really could be doing, and here's why they're doing. Somebody asked earlier, what's the impeachment really about? Well, if you look at what Trump's done in his short 3
Short
years,
tenure.
and potentially what he could do. One of the last things he hasn't done yet, because it's sitting in the House and Pelosi won't do it, is infrastructure. Our country is 100 years behind on our
Bridges.
electricity and our electricity. Our
grid.
grid is horribly
Tree
old.
branches take down half the eastern seaboard.
If I was a Democrat, I would get behind that and say, hey, let's take something let's find some good out of some bad, right? We lost the election. We're probably going to lose this next one. But what they could hang their hats on is, hey, let's rebuild America, like the TVA system that, back in the day. These are the types of things that Ike and FDR and Kennedy talked about. Trump is very Lincoln, Kennedy, Ike, Eisenhower kind of together. He's not sexy like the rest of them with his language. But what he wants to do is very Americana. He wants to rebuild the infrastructure, which we've been talking about for 40 years. All the way back to Reagan, we've tried to do this. But not one party will ever give way. Each party wants... we're doing it.
We're doing it.
We got to do it. We got to take the trash out. But each party has always wanted to be the person to rebuild the country. And as American citizens, we have been too stupid because it's been a Democratic or a Republican legislature, and then the opposite in the Senate or the opposite in the White House that can shoot that down. So Republicans wanted to be the one that did the infrastructure back in the 80s. Well, then in the 90s, the Democrats wanted to do it, but Clinton was in the White House, but the Republicans had the House. And you have all
Divided
this, you have all
house
this
and
crap
never.
going on.
It was a guys.
Who's winning and who's losing?
It's a good way to talk about something.
We all-
For 30,
we
it was
the-
a good thing talking about something for 30 years, but you.
We're all the ones losing.
41 years we've needed a new infrastructure, and both parties have campaigned and admitted it. Who's losing? The people.
But Trump gets in and just does it.
Because
Some-
both
what?
parties want to be the winning
Got a lot of
team.
Well,
obstruction, but
I got into I hate to keep bringing up Facebook, but I got into a pissing match with a guy we know, and I said, "Hey, if you want to ask me what has Trump done, I want to ask you what has Trump not done that he said he was going to do." I said, "Other than the wall, you can't argue that with me." And then later on, hold on,
Go ahead.
like 3 days later, somebody comments on it and said, "Well, what makes you think he didn't build the wall?" I said, "I didn't say he didn't. I didn't want him to argue the fact
Oh, I see.
gotcha.
because I didn't want to keep going on. He's building the wall.
Yeah. Oh, it's
He's doing
been getting done.
every single thing.
So did Obama.
Brothers,
So did Obama.
every single thing this man said he was going to do.
Patriots.
He's been doing.
we'll see you on the next show. We're going to cut this one. We're at 2 hours. What an awesome show.
Protect your rights.
Never give them up.
Just quit being scared.
That's
Quit
right.
being scared of what everybody else thinks about you. Be scared of what's going to happen to you in your life.
That's right. Don't give up any of your rights anymore to these idiots.
No.
Keep them all. Love you guys. And thanks for all the new members that have upgraded and joined today. We appreciate it. Again, EO2 Dave, Silver Wolf, and Paul Bloomst. Thank you. Thank you all. Paulette Downing. All right, you guys. We'll see you back here. We'll have Scott on again. It's that time of the season that we should see him a little bit more.
You're going to see Mike in about an hour or two, some Q drops. So
Oh,
stay
yeah.
tuned.
We'll see you back here.